what you're seeing play out on screen right now is a recent clip that Hungrybox posted. It's from his tournament set against Zane from Riptide, where he was down 2-0, and then this happened. You know, Zane tries to tech chase him, hits him with a down air, tries to tech chase again. Hungrybox manages to crouch in time to avoid the grab, but then somehow his wrist misses, right? Which is weird, because usually Puff can crouch under Marth's grab and then rest them for it. So Hungrybox's response of dumb game, I get it, it makes sense. Especially when you look at this frame that he posted after, which shows Jigglypuff being right inside of the Marth and going for the wrist, but it's just simply not hitting. So that's why I responded, having to break the news to him that unfortunately this game is a 3D game. So in Melee, you would think that since you can only move left, right, or up and down with your character, it would be a two-dimensional game, because you can't move towards the camera or away from it, from where it's facing or from where it's pointing right now. You can just move in those 2 dimensions that you would think exist. However, this game exists in 3 dimensions, and we're about to see how that affects the game, and we're going to talk about how it changes some common interactions that occur in this game, and maybe if something should be done about it. So in this response I posted, you'll see that I'm switching to turn on the fighter collision. Right here, everything you see that is yellow is a hurt box of a character. The purple ones are also hurt boxes, it's just that those are hurt boxes that cannot be grabbed, but they can still get hit by hitboxes. So yellow is regular hurt box, purple is hurt box that can't be grabbed, and red, like the little red circle you see inside of Jigglypuff, is a hitbox. Whenever your hitbox, or red thing, connects with the hurt box, so a yellow or a purple thing from the opponent, you hit them. And in this situation, it looks like Marth's leg, like the purple front leg of his, is clearly within that circle, right? But once you move the camera, you can actually see that there is a slight gap in between Marth's front leg and the rest hitbox, but it's all in the Z-axis. It's because Marth's leg is in front of Jigglypuff and the rest hitbox is behind the leg. It's not missing left, right, or up and down, it's missing because, you know, because of the depth that exists in the Z-axis in this game. So this is, you know, not something that people think about that much, and you don't really encounter it unless you look for it, but you can abuse it in some situations if you know about it. And there are ways to play this game where this isn't the case, and those ways to play the game exist in vanilla Melee. Cool. Those ways to play the game are to play on the stage called Flat Zone. Flat Zone is the stage that Mr. Game & Watch, or that represents the Game & Watch franchise, if you can call it that. And you'll see right here that when I switch the camera, you see that the characters just look flat, and there's like no forward or back they can go to, because it just turns the characters into mostly 2D beings. All hitboxes that would be, or hurtboxes that would be shifted forward or backwards on the Z-axis are more or less in the same place on the stage. So this stage changes a lot of these interactions and makes them play out differently. So for example, this rest right here would hit Marth's leg if they were playing on the 2-dimensional stage. So there are ways to, you know, change these interactions in the regular game, and we'll talk about if, you know, maybe modding the game to make every stage 2-dimensional like this is something that might be worth considering, or, you know, just bring it up as a thought experiment and talk about what the implications of that would be. So first of all, I want to go over a couple of other meaningful interactions that exist because of the Z-axis that changes things. You may have noticed that sometimes it feels like Peach does an air dodge and you're sure that you hit her, but you just somehow miss. Right here we're seeing Peach do an air dodge, and if we look really closely, we see that in this air dodge she's flashing white, which means she's invincible. Now she's no longer flashing white, she did her last white flash, she's no longer invincible. But then somehow this Marth neutral B still doesn't hit her, so why is that? If we turn the camera and look at it from above, we'll see that Peach's air dodge actually moves her forward towards the camera in the Z-axis. So this Marth neutral B, which is like perfectly like parallel to Peach's body and, you know, in the exact right spot on all the other axes of the game, would hit her. But since Peach moves towards the camera, like this just doesn't hit, even though it's exactly where it should be. And there's, you know, if you time it somewhat differently as Marth, especially because once Peach lands, she instantly snaps back on your level, like she snaps back to where you're standing. So if you hit her as she lands, it becomes a lot easier to hit. But if she's still flying down like that, it can be pretty awkward to actually hit her with your moves. Of course, Marth neutral B is a pretty narrow attack. With Marth's forward smash, it's a bit easier because his forward smash is wider into the Z-axis, so you can actually hit Peach more easily in the same spot. But this does exist, and with moves like Marth down tilt, moves from a lot of other characters that are pretty small, this can happen. This is not just Peach, it's Zelda as well. These two characters have this advantage, and on Flat Zone that advantage doesn't exist anymore because she's either right next to you in the same Z-axis plane, or she's nowhere at all when she's air dodging. So this is the next example. If we look at melee frame data and we look at, I wonder when Fox's down tilt comes out, it'll tell us that Fox's down tilt has a 7-frame startup, so the first hitbox comes out on frame 7, right? Sounds good. So let's look at this Fox down tilt right here. At the bottom, you can see the frames, right? So at frame 1, this is it says 1 at the bottom right here. This is frame 1 of Fox's down tilt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is frame 7 of the hitbox. Marth is right in front of you, right? I thought it came out on frame 7. Why isn't it hitting the Marth? So on frame 8 it hits, but on frame 7 it should hit because, they told me there's a hitbox there. Why isn't that landing? I don't know. Let's have a look. I think if you were to ask like top Fox players when does Fox down tilt come out, they'd probably just say like, I don't know, man, like you could probably get guesses from like frame 4 to 11, depending on who you're asking. Some of them will know exactly, and they will even know this little intricacy, but I think a very, very large amount of them will have no idea about this, because you don't really need to know specifically, but it is very fun to know. That if we look at this from above, we see again that from the front it looks like this should hit, but the hitbox that Fox down tilt has on frame 7 is so far backwards in the Z-axis that it pretty much doesn't really hit any character, like if they're just standing in front of you. Of course, Marth is a pretty skinny guy. Sheik's also very skinny, right? If the character is super wide, it might hit if you're really close as well, because you can see that the hitbox that's right on top of Fox's tail is a little bit closer to where the Marth currently is. Still not hitting, like not even close, but it might if there's a really like chunky Bowser with like a mega mushroom or whatever it's called. So a really, really big one. This might land. But yeah, if you're just playing regular melee, in most cases, yes, Fox's down tilt hitbox comes out frame 7, but this frame 7 hitbox doesn't do anything. It just never hits the opponent. So yeah, yes, the move comes out frame 7, but it hits the opponent starting from frame 8 in pretty much all regular circumstances, which we're seeing right here. We see that it still lingers on where it was in the previous frame, which is normal in melee, but that doesn't really help you because who's ever gonna be there? Here's the same situation, but on Flat Zone, we see frame 5, frame 6, and now on frame 7, Fox's down tilt hits, because the hitbox that would otherwise be shifted too far behind the Marth and wouldn't hit, on Flat Zone, it just comes out right where the Marth is. So on Flat Zone, Fox's down tilt is just 1 frame faster and hits opponents 1 frame quicker, which is, just kind of funny, I think. Cool. This next example is something that you will all have heard about and maybe even seen yourself. Yoshi has a pretty tough time grabbing people with his dash grab, which is unfortunate because his standing grab is already not that good. It's very laggy and it takes a while to come out. His dash grab comes out a bit quicker, I think, but you see right here that even if Yoshi's doing his very, very best, no matter how you space it, the Sheik just doesn't care. Looking at it from above, we don't even have to go into the frame-by-frame display. We will, but we don't have to. We see that Yoshi's tongue just comes out, Yoshi leans his head towards us and then just misses the Sheik completely because you'll see that this little grab box is more of a pink than red, because the grab hitboxes are always this pink color, whereas regular hitboxes that just hit you are red. It's right where Sheik's legs are, and not just her purple legs, the purple part of her lower legs, which can't be grabbed, but also just her knees and her thighs. So she should get grabbed by this, but because Yoshi just doesn't have his dimensions in order, he doesn't hit the opponent. Yoshi's usually the most commonly stated victim of this. Yoshi also has some advantages that come from this. If we look at this little clip right here, this is just Yoshi down tilting a Marth. Looks pretty innocent. But if we look at it frame by frame, we'll see that when Yoshi starts his down tilt, his head moves towards the camera, or if he's facing the other way, away from the camera. And we see right here that this Marth, like, it is overlapping with Yoshi's head. But if we look at it from above, we see that Yoshi just like matrix dodges towards the camera, barely, like, doesn't get grabbed. Like, his body also barely doesn't get hit by the grab, and then he swats the Marth away, which makes a really big difference in this matchup, because Yoshi is already very hard to play against as Marth. So if Yoshi can dodge your grab with one of his best like openers on you, because getting down tilted by Yoshi as Marth is really scary, pretty much no matter what the percent, that makes a very big difference, right? So if we were playing on flat zone, Yoshi could grab the Marth way more easily, but you know, he would lose out on being able to dodge Marth grab like this. I don't know what would be a bigger deal. I'm not sure how amazing Yoshi's grab combos on Marth are. I can't really imagine much right now. So yeah, this is just another example that I didn't record yet, but I thought of just now, or talked about just now. Yoshi's up tilt is a pretty funny move, because when he does the up tilt, this is this one frame, right? This is frame 1 of Yoshi's up tilt, and this is also the frame where Falco's Shine is coming out. Again, looks like it should hit, if we just look at it from here again. This really should hit, but because Yoshi moves his head, like right here, this frame, they're right on top of each other. Next frame, Yoshi will start the up tilt, Falco will shine. Boom. Yoshi's head just like goes where no one else has been before, which allows him to dodge the shine. And then he comes back in, right? Like he moves his head to the side, then he moves it behind himself, and then he uses his tail to pop the opponent up. So if you're tech chasing someone, right, and you feel like you're going to be a little bit late on the tech chase against the Falco, doing up tilt isn't a bad idea, because your head just dodges it, and then the up tilt hitbox will come out quite a bit after, and it's a pretty meaningful opening to land on Spacey. So yeah, this is another way in which the Z-axis can help Yoshi. I think overall, just not being able to grab people, especially characters like Sheik, who have such a good shield, is really bad for Yoshi, and he'd probably be happy if, you know, he could just grab people, even if some of these smaller interactions didn't play out the way they do. But yeah, he's not just a victim of it. He does have some stuff. Great. Let's try to find our next example. So of course, you know me, I had to give an Ice Climbers example, just because I knew this like before making this video already. I mean, I knew about most of these things, but I tested some more stuff out that I wasn't sure about. So if we ever look at the Ice Climbers, in order for them to not look completely stupid on screen, Popo, the one that you're controlling, is usually a bit closer to the camera, and Nana is a bit behind Popo. That, you know, makes the climbers a bit, you know, easier to look at, because right here you can see that you see their feet, and you kind of see that Nana's feet are like sticking out a bit behind Popo's feet, which means that she's just shifted back on that axis. So if we look at it from above right here, we try to up smash the Jigglypuff. It looks like it should hit, but it doesn't, because Nana is so far back, right? Looking at it from above, we can see Popo sticking out to the front a bit more, Nana is further to the back. And this already pretty difficult to land down throw up smash, which on this frame really looks like it should land, right? Because it's overlapping with Jigglypuff's yellow hurtbox. It just isn't hitting, because Nana is, you know, she's trying to stand behind her man and, you know, give him the space he needs, but maybe she should be strong, you know, like she is and deserves to be, and just move towards us and show herself off so that she can finally hit these up smashes, because by God, like, this matchup's already draining enough to play. We don't need Nana to miss all her smash attacks, but hey, you know, she's doing her best. That's all you can really say. This, you know, on this frame, you can also see really nicely just how far back Nana is really on the screen. Tried to show it off at the end, like right here, where you see like I'm doing all these moves, and Nana is just like almost half or almost a full character length like behind Popo in the Z-axis, and it does have impact on their gameplay in some situations. Pretty much in all situations, because if she was closer, then most moves would be closer to hitting the opponent, especially up smash like we just saw. All right, next up, I know it's like, because it's what everyone's doing, we have to talk about the monkey. Donkey Kong has a really good up B, we all know that, right? His up B has a really strong hitbox on frame 4. He has one hitbox that's like in front of him at his shoulder that we can see right here, down here. And then he has the other high one that can like catch people coming down from him from above. It's what he did to Magi, I think, to win that one set in the one clip that they, everyone just keeps showing in all DK compilations and highlight videos. So these are the two hitboxes. They're really strong. DK is fully invincible. That's great. Seems like it would be a very, very, very overpowered move. It's already strong, but this makes it look incredible because someone's in front of you, just whack them away. If they're above you, just whack them away, like sounds amazing. But if we look at it from this angle, we see that one of the hitboxes is very far to the left in this case, the other one's very far to the right. So what does that mean? In this situation, we're imagining that you're doing what we're all doing right now. You're playing Donkey Kong Dittos with your best friend or with a random guy you met at the local and you stayed at the venue for too long, so you ended up doing Donkey Kong Ditto money matches at 3 a.m. Very respectable. So let's say you try to up-B that person, right? You walk up to them very, very closely, right? Like the DKs are literally like butting heads in the game. You do the up-B, and this hitbox right here is so far back in the Z-axis that even if you're super close, like this, now we're gonna move even closer to them, and we start the up-B, like this should hit really, right? Like you're playing against one of the biggest characters in the game, you try to up-B them, but yeah, looking from this angle, we're seeing that it's just too far back. It doesn't land. If you're super, super, super on top of them, it might land, but like that's already playing against one of the really big characters. If you're playing against Sheik, you don't even really have to bother trying to do that, because Sheik's very skinny, she's very small. It would be amazing if you could just up-B her away from in front of you, but unfortunately you see right here, you can't really get much closer than this, but this hitbox just isn't in the right place. So if you were facing the other way, you might be able to smack her with the back hitbox, the ones that's above you and behind you. But unfortunately, the other hitbox doesn't really land, right? Like here, I do it the other way and it lands, but from the front, it's just really hard. From the back, luckily, this does land in the next frame. Yeah, you can see Sheik's already taken damage because this hitbox is hitting her, and now she flies away, that's great. Donkey Kong's neutral air is very similar because he like spins around, he spins his arms around, and he has like a constant hitbox on his arms. But because he's so big and his arms are so long, they end up spinning so far into the Z-axis in both directions that some of the hitboxes just practically, won't hit the opponent, which is kind of sad because like, why? All right, next example. And I think this is going to be the last one for today, but I think I might just hop on Uncle Punch to show you one or two more things. This right here, right? In this clip, we see Falco jump at a Dr. Mario. This is the same for Luigi and regular Mario. And the Falco tries to go for a laser, right? But then somehow the Dr. Mario manages to up smash through the laser that really should hit him, right? You see right here, this laser is going right through his head and his hand. So what's going on? Is he invincible? Dr. Mario is invincible on his up smash, but only once the hitbox starts coming out. And right here, the hitbox isn't out yet, but he's dodging the laser, so what's happening? So looking at it like this, we see that he leans back, and not just back and down, but he also leans like to the side like this. So you see right here, his hand really should get hit by the laser, but because he just, matrix dodges it and then gets to get his up smash out, you see that his head right now is not blue. Blue means invincible. And then once the laser is done, damn, it's kind of scary how Falco's shooting at you from here. But yeah, once the laser is no longer in his range, he moves his head up again, his head turns blue and has the red hitbox on top. Kind of looks like he's, wearing a Mario cap from this angle. Don't know why his head would be blue, but I'm not gonna judge. So he gets to land this up smash, and because Falco is at like 290% and even KOs, right? Let's go mid tiers. Woo! We're the best. Yeah, so the Z-axis exists, and there is a stage where this is not the case. So like, what should we do? Should we like just play on flat zone, right? Should that be a competitively viable stage? Maybe Amsa would finally get his W against Plub's Sheik if he could just like run up and do this every time, right? Like that'd be amazing. Like right here you see that issue doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, if we could mod other stages, because of course flat zone isn't a viable stage, it has walk-offs, so people could just stand right here and fish for grabs. I don't want to play against a Samus who's just like wave dashing back in this area and then shooting missiles. Like, that just doesn't seem fun. Because if you get down smashed once, you get sent behind her and then good night. Or just like Spacey's trying to dash dance grab back throw you here. They can already do that and it's annoying enough. They don't have to be able to do that with the walk-off as well. Or the, Fox just wave shining people until they hear the KO sound and then running back to center stage. Yeah, stages with walk-offs like this, where you can just walk into the blast zone, are pretty funny, but not really like something to be played on competitively, because it promotes very, very, stupid strategies that aren't that fun to play with, and that become very centralizing. So yeah, if we could make every stage like Flat Zone, in the sense that everything's 2D and the hitboxes interact in the way that they would otherwise, should we do that? Also, one more thing, just wanted to show off Sheik's forward air right here. Because she does a similar thing in her forward air. It's already a very fast move, but luckily it comes out pretty far into the Z-axis. Usually it still hits most people, but on the next frame, that's usually when it hits everyone. But that very first frame can, doesn't always hit as easily. Anyways, I was talking about Flat Zone and if we should mod every stage to be like that. So what are the advantages and disadvantages? The advantages are that moves that are supposed to work a certain way now work consistently, right? I'm pretty certain that the people who made this game did not intend for Yoshi to be unable to hit a Sheik with a dash grab. Or like honestly most characters, because it's not just Sheik, right? Like if Marth standing here, can end up like going very similarly like this. There's also I just have to recreate the funny gif of like Yoshi trying to grab Marth up here and then Marth grabs and hits. Classic, it's like 12 years old, that gif, it's amazing. So is that how the game was meant to be? I don't think so. I think Yoshi was supposed to be able to hit people with his grab. Like, that might be a controversial take, but I do think that's how it was supposed to be. So fixing that, I think, would be cool, but it would impact the game balance to such a large extent that I don't think if it's worth thinking about, right? Because this game is messed up, right? There's no getting around that. This game is just a product of people having to create like a very, very a game that they know will be sold a ton all over the world, and they had like 18 months to just create this entire game, right? They didn't really have the time, and the fact that we have like foxes who can move around like this and I don't know wave shine quintuple grab people it's incredible, and it's a product of people only having such little time for the game. A lot of it was intentional in the design choices, but a lot of it, like Mr. Game & Watch's shield, all these Z-axis shenanigans, some of the characters just not being as fully fleshed out as they could have otherwise been, like Ganondorf being a clone of Captain Falcon. Like, come on, we could change this, we could change parts of this, but once we go into that, like, where do we stop? I'm not saying this is a slippery slope, but I'm saying that the Z-axis stuff, while it heavily disadvantages some characters, it does allow for some nuance and for some counterplay, like with the Dr. Mario up smash thing we saw, or with Yoshi down tilt dodging grabs, Yoshi up tilt like dodging a bunch of moves. It makes Peach's air dodge better, and she's already a character like who kind of needs it. Of course she doesn't need it, but it's a very important tool for her that would be taken away. So I think the impact on game balance would be a good, like, it wouldn't be super huge, right? But it would be pretty big. And the advantages would just be that some characters get to work a bit better in how they try to work, or are supposed to work, but we're not playing the game how it was supposed to be played anyways. We're playing the game the way it is. And when we do make changes, I think we need to have really good reasons for making them. And yeah, I don't think that the advantages of, making everything 2D and thus making some stuff easier or more consistent, or making some moves work that otherwise don't work, is worth the disadvantages of taking away interesting interactions that occur as a result of this axis existing in the first place. Yeah, I'm really sorry, Yoshi players. At least you get to, down tilt people and dodge stuff with your up tilt. You do have a command grab you can use. It does put people into an egg, which is incredible. Like, when I'm playing Fox, I can't do that. Like, even ice climbers who can do, like, all the funny glitches can't even put people into eggs. I might have to try to find a way to do that, because it would be the greatest thing the world's ever seen. But I don't think we'll ever get there. So I think it's fair. You get to put people into an egg, and I get to spin through the battlefield ledge. So we're all even here. Yeah, like I said, this is not an extensive list. If we just look at Mewtwo and just like look at his down tilt, he does spin, right? We know that. When he down tilts, he spins, and that can let him dodge some stuff. It's not just his down tilt, it's also his forward tilt, right? If we look at where his head goes during the forward tilt, he does the same thing Yoshi does, more or less, right? Like here it looks pretty normal, and now, you know, a high Falco laser would just go right through this Mewtwo and hit this unsuspecting poor Yoshi right in the nose. And I don't think he'd be alright. Like, I think we should call an ambulance, because that looks pretty painful. Yeah, so that's what Mewtwo's been up to. Because he's not already weird enough, right? Just like all these strange characters, Yoshi, Ice Climbers, Donkey Kong. But like we showed, like it's also Sheik, it's also Fox, it's also Peach, it's all of us, and changing this would change the way in a very, very significant. Would change the game in such a way that I don't think it's worth doing, because the upsides are very small and it removes so much fun stuff from this game. And yeah, if we want to play a more balanced version of the game, we can talk about playing the PAL version of the game, which is, you know, the newest version of it, which does buff the characters in a way that is more in line with what the developers intended, because that patch was literally done by the developers, making the game two-dimensional and just having everyone, you know, be in Mr. Game & Watch's hometown just to make certain moves work properly, in quotation marks. I'm not with it. Let me know what you think. And yeah, let me know what you think about Yoshi not being able to put his tongue in the right spot when he's trying to grab. I probably shouldn't have said that. Anyway, goodbye.